Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon Sarkeesian, and I'm one of the admissions counselors at HCC.
Hi, my name is Bryn Knoll. I'm also an admissions counselor at HCC. And today we're just going to share with you some information about how to get started and register for classes.
Right. So I'm going to share my screen so that you don't have to just stare at our faces the whole time. So this is a list on what you need to do in order to get started and become a student at HCC. So your very first step is actually applying to the college. So the way you do this is you're going to want to create an account and apply at hcc.edu/apply. Once you do this, it'll take around 24 to 48 hours for you to get accepted. You're going to receive an acceptance email that's going to have tons of next steps there.
After you apply for the admission portion, or actually basically at the same time, you can also be applying for financial aid. Financial aid is a government application, so it's a universal application. And you'll notice that with the website, fafsa.gov, which is what you would be using to submit your financial aid application. If you have questions, financial aid is available to help you, and they do have opportunities for you to either schedule appointments or even just send them an email. And that information, the contact information, is on their website.
Exactly. Once you have applied, you're going to want to figure out your course level placement. So we'll talk a little bit about this in a couple seconds, but essentially you need to see whether or not you're ready to take college classes before registering for classes.
And then after that point, you'll be able to meet with an advisor and register for classes. And we'll talk to you about that process in a second as well.
Exactly. So once you've been admitted to HCC, you have to determine your course placement before you can register for classes. So for some students, this means taking an English and math placement test, but for others, this actually means sending us documents to waive the test.
There are quite a few ways that we could waive your placement exam, including taking a look at your high school transcript or your college transcripts, along with other standardized testing options like AP scoring information, your SAT tests, ACT tests, or your GED scores. If you are not in school right now or you had already graduated, do know that high school counseling offices are still checking their voicemails and emails, and that is still a way for you to request your records, and that way they can be sent to us. And we prefer at this point for those documents to be emailed to us, because at this point we're not physically on campus checking the mail. So receiving items in our email is the quickest way for us to receive and process it. Our email address at the bottom of the screen is admissions@hcc.edu.
Right. So once you send us those documents, we're essentially going to evaluate and see if you meet the criteria to waive the placement test. But if you do have to take the placement test, never fear. We do have plenty of study materials available online, as well as information about the test at that link, hcc.edu/course placement. So you can view practice materials such as our English placement test. We have a couple practice tests. And we also have instructions on how to study for the math test by using the free online resource Khan Academy.
Also, if you do wind up taking the exam and feel like you could do better, you can take the exam again. So just be aware that it is a free exam that you can schedule and take multiple times if you feel like that makes sense.
Right. And to schedule that placement test, you're going to want to email your full name, date of birth, your student ID number that you receive in your acceptance email, as well as which test you're taking, English, math, or both, to assessment@hcc.edu. And you're going to be emailed further instructions.
After you take your placement exam, the next step would be to actually meet with an academic advisor and register for classes. And we're going to talk about more about that on the next slide.
So in case you missed the number right before, the way that you make that appointment is you call advising at 413-552-2722 to make an appointment to schedule classes.
If you get a voicemail, even though they are checking their line throughout the day, if you do get a voicemail, make sure that you leave your full first and last name, your email address, if they need to touch base with you that way, your telephone number, along with your student ID number if you know it. If you have a relationship with other offices already, so if you've already worked with someone in admissions and you feel comfortable with someone in admissions, or offices like Disability Services, OSDDS, the MOS program, or New Directions. All of those offices also have the ability to academically advise. So whatever office you feel most comfortable with, know that they are potential resources for you, and just touch base with them when you have an opportunity.
Depending on, well, actually, regardless of who you connect with to make an appointment, you're going to want to do this at least 2 weeks before the start of fall classes. So the reason why we want you to do this at the very latest 2 weeks before classes start is because we want to make sure that you're setting yourself up well to be a student at HCC. But essentially, the earlier you can do this, the better. So the earlier you register for classes, the more choices you have and options to take. But other than that,
thank you for letting us talk through the process with you. If this message winds up resulting in you having additional questions, we are always around. We're checking our phones. We're able to answer our phones at 413-552-2321. And we're also checking the admissions email pretty much all the time at admissions@hcc.edu.
right. Have a wonderful day, Bryn.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.